What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. I hope you enjoyed today's video. We're going to play some really good clips discussing tokenization of real-world assets by Abrdn. Now as we know, this organization Abrdn is a governing council member for HEDERA and they currently manage over $600 billion. So this company has been working on tokenization for about 3 years now, and out of the $600 billion that Abrdn manages today, they said that this year they've tokenized about $20 billion worth of funds. So 20 billion out of 600 billion, roughly 3%. And an example of that is Archax tokenizing Abrdn's multi-billion-dollar money market fund. I think it's valued at about 15 billion pounds, and this multi-billion money market fund is actually being tokenized on top of HEDERA. So this whole interview is about an hour long. I just trimmed through some of the most important points that I found interesting. There are a lot of great questions here from David, the editor-in-chief, Blockchain Journal, and then we have Duncan, who is the senior investment manager for Abrdn. And again, this was shared by HEDERA directly on Twitter if you want to see the whole thing. So David here asks a lot of awesome questions related to tokenization, a lot of questions I have for myself, such as, if tokenization is so game-changing, why haven't we seen institutional adoption? He also asked Duncan, in terms of chains and even public networks, what are you looking for specifically? Is it scalability? Is it reliability? Is it sustainability and being energy efficient, considering ESG? Is it a protocol that you're looking to connect to and leverage for the long term, so you want something that will be sticking around for years rather than having to change in the future? So I hope you guys watch all of this video because there's a lot of good gems and just general information understanding tokenization and what this means for a variety of layer 1s and protocols that are tokenizing assets today. And apologies in these next clips if the volume is just a tad low. You should be able to hear everything fine. I'm currently fixing my PC build right now, had some issues, so I'm stuck recording on my laptop, so hopefully this microphone audio quality is good enough. And just remember, regarding HEDERA, even according to CRE, commercial real estate company Red Swan, they've already tokenized over $5 billion on top of HEDERA. So we're seeing this happen today, but the big thing and the big hurdle is, of course, regulation. And big thanks to all that hit the like button, and I hope you enjoy these clips.
So are you launching fully tokenized funds? Are you tokenizing existing funds? What exactly is Abrdn doing?
Doing the former, we're tokenizing existing funds or parts of existing funds, or creating the ability for investors to buy in token form. So parts of ownership of our funds exist on blockchain. This is a multi-year story. Maybe a decade-long story, and things will evolve over time as they do with anything, and we will adapt as we need to. So, we've been working on this for a number of years. So it's not just been straight away, but now we're at the point of bringing offerings to market in token form. If it's a fund that has low minimum investment size, let's say it's a typical regulated fund, maybe you need $1,000, $2,000 to invest. You might do one token to one typical unit. That might be the size. Of course, you could bring it right down to one token is $1. You might want to do that for various reasons. You might want to move into frontier markets where that are massively underserved in terms of access to financial products, access to the ability to save money properly, and so you might want to bring the size down. But certainly for private markets funds, it's like private equity, venture, infrastructure, etc., private debt, hedge funds, the minimum ticket sizes are usually much larger, millions of dollars, and you want to fractionalize that and bring into multiple and many tokens, so that the smaller bite size, to allow more investors, different types of investors, into these products.
What's the future here in terms of blockchain and this big use case of tokenization? Is it really as big as some people say it is? Is the whole world going to get tokenized, or are there only certain industries where it matters?
Okay, so I mean, just I guess finishing off financial services, it's just massive, the opportunity. And I think we talked a little bit about the benefits in equities, but equities is probably the one where stocks are the one where you're not as bothered about, but there are definitely benefits. The bond market is massive. Individual investors do not have access to corporate bonds in their portfolio, individual corporate bonds. we've got to fix that. We've got to give them access. Otherwise, the bond market is not reaching enough of the, a wide enough audience. All the different private markets, right down to niche alternative investments as well. Watches, art, cars. We're already seeing this.
You said you manage something like, you have like something like 600 billion pounds or dollars. I don't remember which one it was, under management. How much of that is tokenized so far, or how much of that's going to be tokenized in this first year?
That's a good question. So far, Archac's tokenized investments in our money market funds this year. I guess totaling them up, those funds are probably well over $20 billion. And the amount that you can say that's tokenized will depend on how much we get in inflows. But we've seen the interest has been absolutely massive. And we're not surprised about that, because money markets is something that really there's real demand for, because of the yield component, and as a safe haven type asset. It's hard.
The reason I asked that question was because I'm trying to get an idea of the size of this particular commitment that Abrdn's making to tokenization. You mentioned how massive the opportunity is in the financial sector, and to my knowledge, I mean, we are watching all the enterprises that are out there, blockchain journalists, see what they're doing with blockchain. And there certainly is activity out there in the area of tokenization. You see JP Morgan doing some stuff with its Onyx project. We saw just recently the Monetary Authority of Singapore complete a massive pilot with a bunch of other investment companies. Of course, there's you, but this is not going mainstream as far as I can tell, at least not yet. If the opportunity is that massive, how come we don't hear every single investment company out there jumping on it?
Yeah. So I can kind of speak for from our experience, and I think a lot of our peers will be in a similar position. Is most of our businesses have been around for a long time. We're nearly 200 years old, and so we think very long term. And we are, I would say, cautious about moving into new areas. So there's been, we've been working on this for now well over 3 years. So it's taken us that long. We want to make sure we understand there's an education element that needs to come with it, and the market infrastructure needs to pick up. The regulatory changes as well help. I do think that there's been this whole the institutions are coming kind of thing for a little while, and frustratingly, it's not kind of come to fruition, or there's a lot of real world examples. There's a lot of proof of concept, but not real live examples. But I can tell you that now more than ever, the kind of the buzz is there. More and more people are talking about this. Every one of our peers is looking at this. Either they're looking at it to learn now, or they're already involved in live projects. So it takes time. And if you go and do a security token on a regulated fund, you need to go through the regulators. Yes. And those regulators on a plain vanilla fund might take 6 to 9 months, 12 months sometimes to approve a fund. So you just have to go with the flow as it relates to the kind of old traditional markets as well. We can't all move at the pace of blockchain, I suppose.
What other industries besides finance and real estate, as you described, does tokenization apply to?
Any industry where there's sensitive data or data that you need to trust can and should be represented as tokens on chain. So the ones at the top of my head are healthcare, patient data. You can bring in things like zero knowledge proof to ensure that only certain people who should have access can get access to that data. And we've seen all these data breaches across private and public healthcare systems. Supply chain tracking within industrials, within consumer goods. This is data that that can be represented as tokens on chain, and a company can track the entire supply chain of its products, can track things like carbon footprint, as you know, there's Atma.io are doing. They can look at where the products were made, the production facilities. They can find breaks in the production line. Really, absolutely, any industries where digital identity is important. Certification for within oil and gas industries, compliance certifications for employees or even for the machinery. It's very, very wide ranging.
This all
it's
rolls
hard to
up
find
to
one that doesn't.
Yeah, this all rolls up to something I like to talk about. One of my favorite topics with blockchain, especially public blockchains, is this idea of multi-party transparency. Anywhere where you have a need for multiple parties to access data, and you want a single source of truth, a trusted source of truth, that data, blockchain is possibly the solution to that problem of trust.
So the goal is to create a better client outcome, and through tokenization, we're now able to offer a wider range of opportunities to our investors, or we will be able to offer a wider range of opportunities to our clients, and they're going to be able to allocate in a much more cost-effective manner. We're going to be able to bring operational costs down for them, operational friction. So there's a lot of benefits there, and it's not, I think maybe I mentioned at the start, it's not just about democratization. So that is absolutely important, democratization of finance. So this is about these opportunities going to investors who do not have them right now, giving them more power and more autonomy in managing their portfolio. It's a win-win. I mean, this all comes down to efficiencies, and when you can create really good efficiencies, everyone can win at the same time.
Okay, you're the leader of Abrdn's digital asset strategy. And there are many people like you at other organizations that have some input into the technology portfolio to support whatever application it is they're building. And I think of this as an application. You talked about different blockchains that are out there and how, for example, they offer a quicker time to settlement compared to existing financial rails. What are the criteria that you used in order to make your selections? Is it performance, reliability? Like what things should other people who are tuned into this webinar be thinking about when they have to make their technology selections?
Anyone that's thinking about, or is building a business, and is presumably building that, because they want that business and they want the business to be around for a long time. And I mentioned that we've been around for a very long time, and we want to continue to be around. So when we go into something new, we use a technology. We want to use a technology that's got longevity, that's got business continuity and sustainability. So that's like top level. That's the goal. And then we have to think about the different factors that would go into creating that. And that means that it's a technology that's got to be scalable, because we want to be successful. And if we're successful and a technology we're using is not scalable, well, either we may not achieve that success, or we might have to change technologies. And we don't want to do that. We like long-term. We like long-term partnerships. So it's got to be scalable, high capacity. Speed is important, absolutely. So the number of transactions that can be processed on chain, and the finality element as well. I mean, if the industry really does take off, that overall capacity, transactions, and finality will be very important. You don't want congestion in the network, and then we need a technology that matches our values as well. And I talked about business sustainability, but we also have very strong, some people say ESG, but sustainability values, climate and social and governance. And that last part is clearly very important to us. It's a technology where there's a strong governance framework that we think aligns with our own approach and the approach of the investors that we're going out to.